These are the best indie games of the June 2024 Steam Next Fest, in my opinion. At first, I thought A Corgi's Cozy Hike was almost too cartoony and colorful, but once you start playing it, it really does work well. It has cute, colorful, and charming graphics. You play as a little corgi. You can run around, jump, glide. You have corgi butt power. This is a fun little detail. You pee on fire hydrants to expand your map in this game. If you've played A Short Hike or Lil Gator Game, you know exactly what you're getting into here. It's just like those games. Just these fantastic, charming little 3D exploration games. I highly recommend this one. Easily one of the best games at this year's event. Balling Up caught me off guard. This is inspired by, of course, Only Up, the silly 3D platforming meme game where you just have to keep on jumping higher and higher up the map. It's pretty simplistic. You just play as this marble that kind of looks like a Pokeball. But where this one shines is the dialogue. There is some really clever dialogue going on here.
You know, I could make this journey into a story about overcoming your difficulties, about something inspirational. But to be honest, I'd rather just chat shit.
I feel like if you were just playing this game for the gameplay alone, it wouldn't be anything special. And while I do like marble games, the thing that sets this one apart is definitely the creative dialogue. So if you like games with silly humor like Portal or The Stanley Parable, again, I highly recommend this one. Blood Typers. This was a surprise to me. I haven't played Typing of the Dead personally, but I feel like I have the gist of it. You just type out the words on screen, and that makes the characters shoot the zombies. This one's a little more creative and interesting. The character models freak me out. Look at these guys, they're really creepy looking. But aside from that, there is a really well-designed game here. Yes, a lot of it is just typing, but there are so many other mechanics going on here. There are a bunch of different things on screen that you can type at any time, and depending on what you decide to type, that determines where you'll go to on the map. And it creates this really fun strategic element where you really have to think on your feet, especially when there are zombies coming at you and you only have 6 bullets. So there's definitely some solid difficulty here. If you're even remotely interested in horror games, or if you just really like typing, Blood Typers is another one that I really recommend. What's this? Oh, you know, Just Crow Things. In Just Crow Things, you play as a little crow and you go around pestering people. In addition to just running around cawing everywhere, you can soar around the map, pick up and use different objects and tools, poop on people's heads and on top of cars, and even change your crow's outfit. This is just a really fun, silly little game, and the demo is surprisingly extensive. If the demo alone offers all these different missions, I'm really excited to see what the full game is going to be like. And look at these guys. They're so cool. I wish I was as cool as these crows. That guy's rocking the Pixel sunglasses. And look at this, they even made a special little area for Steam Next Fest. Lamentional kinda caught me off guard. For some reason I thought this was just gonna be a walking simulator, but Lamentional is a legitimate 3D platformer. The gameplay footage itself might not look too exciting. Initially I looked at the trailer and thought there's not a whole lot going on here. But when you play this yourself, at least with me, it really clicked. It makes you sort of feel things. In a good way. If you like first-person 3D platformers, or parkour simulators where you can run on walls and stuff, kinda like Mirror's Edge, I recommend you give Lamentional a shot. Also, it says please here for some reason. On Your Tail. This one's been on my radar for quite some time now. It's a self-proclaimed sleuthy, story-driven 3D life simulator of relaxation, investigation, and knowing how to play your cards right. There's a lot to unpack in that summary, but I think the best way to describe it is, it's sort of like Life is Strange mixed with Phoenix Wright, but also all of the characters are anthropomorphic animals. I love Phoenix Wright, I really enjoyed Life is Strange, and I like games with animals in them, like Sonic or Crash Bandicoot. I can't say I'm 100% sold on the moment-to-moment gameplay here. It feels a little bit like it's trying too many things at once. Like I sort of just want to hang out and relax with the other characters in the game, but also there's this detective story going on that's probably more important. But then when you're deeply involved in a criminal investigation, it sort of takes away from the relaxing elements. I don't know, it is a very well-made indie game. I like all of the parts separately. I'm just not sure how well they work together. Patty Hatu. It's kind of like Super Monkey Ball, except you're a human in a ball. It's Super Human Ball. And the thing I'm not wild about in Super Monkey Ball is that you're controlling the stage and not the character themselves. Here you actually are controlling the character in the ball, and it's not as disorienting as Monkey Ball can be when the whole stage is rotating around everywhere. So if you like physics-based marble games, I definitely recommend Patty Hatu. Security Control is a multiplayer adventure for 1 to 4 players, where you can team up or challenge friends in both VR and non-VR modes. I played it in non-VR mode, just by myself, and it wasn't bad. There's some interesting mechanics in play here. It's definitely a very stealth-heavy game. It's sort of like a capture the flag style game where you usually have to pick up an object and bring it back to a certain area. But there are a bunch of different apps that you can put on this in-game cell phone that do a good job of switching things up, making things a little more interesting. And like I said, I had fun playing it just single player, so I could see this one being a ton of fun to play with friends, especially in VR. Warrior Spirit is a classic style 3D platformer where you play as a character that's kinda Kirby-like, kinda Sonic-like, kind of Glover-like. There's a lot going on here. He's got a bunch of different movement options. You can swing around, bounce, wall run, dash. It is pretty fun to play and move around as the main character. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of in this game is the combat. For some reason, the combat just feels a little slow and clunky to me. And there was this one part in the demo where I honestly just did not know where to go. So it could maybe use a little bit more playtesting, a little bit more in-game direction for dunces like me. But other than that, if you like retro 3D platformers, give Warrior Spirit a try. What the Car really caught me off guard. Initially, it just looks like a silly Cartoon Network-inspired meme game, and it kind of is that, but underneath the silly concept of a car with legs, there is some really fun gameplay here. The objective of each stage is to just get from point A to point B, but they switch it up with every single stage. Not as far as the levels themselves go necessarily, but just the way you control this car. First, you're just running around on 2 legs. Then you got like 6 legs and you're rolling around. Then you got rockets on the side of the car. There's always something new and interesting going on here. It definitely keeps you on your toes. So if you like silly 3D platformers, definitely give What the Car a try. Year Unknown is a first-person story-based exploration game. The demo is a little short, and this one is definitely a walking simulator, but I think there's a lot of potential here. In the demo, you just go around these big empty hallways talking to these little computers. There's a little bit of interesting dialogue. There's this whole mystery going on about how you're the only human here and you don't know why, and this AI is maybe going to help you find out. The main reason I wanted to include this on the list is these environments. They do look pretty plain and empty at first, but you get to some of these just massive rooms that aesthetically are very cool looking. Sort of unsettling, but in a good way. I'm really curious to see what kind of twists and turns come about later in this game. Are you ready? I saved the best for last. Fading Skies. This demo is incredible. I can't believe this is an indie game. The Steam page describes this as an action RPG, 3D platformer, story-rich, Souls-like. I feel like out of all of those, it's mostly an action RPG. The gameplay really reminds me of Kingdom Hearts. Man, just everything in this game is so gorgeous. The character models, the environments are breathtaking. The music's fantastic. It's got great voice acting. The characters' lips actually move when they're talking outside of cutscenes. There's a fantastic attention to detail here. And even the combat's a lot of fun. Just when I thought I had mastered the sword fighting and the archery, they throw these other cool mechanics at you, where you can do this like boost dash. There are just so many cool things going on here. I cannot say enough good things about this demo. Also, you know what it kind of reminded me of? Star Fox Adventures. It's like Kingdom Hearts mixed with Star Fox Adventures. If that sounds appealing to you, give Fading Skies a try. Again, I highly recommend it. In my opinion, best indie game of the show. But I want to reiterate, all of the games on this list are worth playing. If you saw my Steam Next Fest preview video, I did play every single one of those games as well as a few more, and these were just the highlights for me personally. If you didn't see my Steam Next Fest preview video, and if you want to see more cool indie games, maybe go give that a watch. I only talked about 10 games here, and I think there's about 30 on that list. So as always, thanks for watching.